Weather's great. Beautiful day for thoroughbred racing here in South Florida. As Ron Nicoletti and Jason Blewett see all of you, and we're glad to have your company here on this edition of Gulfstream West today. Feeling good. Ronnie's always chomping at the bit at this time of the day. My friend, we're about an hour out.
I just noticed this.
Yeah,
Pretty
you
cool.
like my little pocket square?
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to try that one day. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I like this suit. You look good, too.
No, but I like that thing.
You're sporting the Rapoli blue and orange,
there
my
you go.
friend.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Are you maybe telegraphing that you like? And I don't even think you pick Rapoli, the Rapoli Pletcher horse of the second redouble. You have that horse?
Second.
Hill Valley?
Yeah.
Yeah, for Back to the Future fans. Of course, we're concerned about today's card, not the future, even though the future looks very bright, not only here in Miami Gardens, but even looking at the game on a national scale. Obviously, just about a week out. Hard to believe, 8 days out from Breeders' Cup Friday, 9 days out from that classic and traditional Breeders' Cup Saturday card. And boy, oh boy, we are really starting to roll in the Rainbow Six. In fact, on this fast and firm, day number 18 of the meet, we'll give you a little rundown as to what's on tap. And that concerns, obviously, the Super High Five and the opening pick five, jump starting in the Thursday first. Rainbow Six, though, they had one single in the nightcap. That horse did not win, so how do you like that total?
Starting to build 71,000, so it'll definitely be over the magical $100,000 mark this afternoon. And with this 8-race card, right after that, our final pick five of the afternoon, kicking off in race number 4. And it should be a fun afternoon of racing and a great weekend coming up.
Yeah, no doubt. A 10-race card here on Saturday, already drawn. They'll draw another 10-race card for Sunday. That'll come out at some point today. Racing Office really does a good job just cranking out these cards. And look, these races, I think, are highlighted not only by the big prices, but the bulky size fields. And I'll tell you, I struggled with Saturday's card. There are some large fields, some maybe 3-4 pages deep in the past performances.
You know, I went out the other day bike riding. I said, hey, the temperature is getting a little lower. And lo and behold, I start doing Saturday's card. Christophe Clement. You start seeing the names from the people that'll spend the winter down here at the championship meet. They're already in the entries on Saturday, so it's that time of year. Got a couple of really nice races on Saturday.
Yeah, one is for the fillies and mares, not to spend too much time on Saturday's card, but Brandy's Girl is running against a Mike Maker horse coming in from the Big Apple. It is a solid field on Saturday in race number 4. But to the early pick 5 we go, and we'll try to get lucky here as we do have 5 turf races on this Thursday here at GPW, and the first race, no exception. And it really boils down to a big-time rematch between 5 horses from the same October 8th race. Trip is very important in a spot like this where there's not a lot of, I think, gap in terms of ability with some of the bigger players on paper. There's a part of me, though, wondering who may get the Trip, how fast is the pace going to be, is a horse going to get lucky maybe sitting the pocket, and then maybe Federal Reserve just wires the field.
Yeah, that happens all the time. The more you think, and then all of a sudden, right to the front and never look back.
He's one of 3 I have in that first leg. Redouble has to beat Hill Valley. I'll be a little surprised that both Redouble and Hill Valley don't run very well in race number 2 as the top 2 to beat there. Third race, back to a 3-horse spread, 3, 7, and 10. I've got some logicals and maybe a couple of Hail Marys trying to get through leg number 3. Do you like Sir Sensical in the 4th race today, my friend?
Right on top of my ticket today. I got in a little trouble last time out, so I used that one. And going back to the 3rd real quickly, I like that you have my long shot Cassidy Smile on your ticket.
Oh, good. I didn't even realize that was your long shot. Yeah, Joe Orsino with a looking at Lucky Filly, who will be trying the turf today with the little Paco Lopez. And I'm 3 deep to cap things here in race number 5. Another very tough turf race on the card. I say tough, though, and I look down. We have the same top 3 horses.
Always happens. That's my best bet today.
Oh, Scatnap.
Yeah, just going back to the turf, I thought that was the one to beat.
All right, so we'll set sail with the first of 8. Short and sweet on the Thursday action here with just 8 races. And we'll dive into this upcoming $8,000 3-and-up claimer on the turf at 5 furlongs. And this is really rematch, grudge match central because just about a good half of this field, more or less, is dropping out of the same race on October 8th. Now, Mr. French really showed, I think, an affinity for this turf course and the 5 furlong distance in a race will bring you when, and I don't mean to put salt in the wound, Roddy, you loved Biggest Little City, who set the pace nearly 12-1 and the number 3 horse, who's the inside speed, and did everything right but win this race.
Just got caught under the shadow of the wire. That was my long shot this afternoon. And biggest little city, that one heard Alvaro Doniz will be back in the saddle again this afternoon. And biggest little city, one of the horses that you have to use on the ticket now. And Mr. French ran exceptionally well in there.
Couldn't have been any gamer, just resolutely grinding out the win and surging in the last stride or so. I also think the 3 Texas Rustler, who didn't run all that great, didn't have a big excuse, but these are the kinds of races I'm going to give. And he's one of my favorite horses in this division. He's a 9-year-old. He still likes to run and compete. And we see these horses, Ronnie, quite simply turn the tables on one another all the time. Maybe today, if things go his way, will be his day.
And then that's one of the reasons I went for a little bit of a shot in here. Currently 6-1 on the board with the number 9 Hardin, who's debuting locally against these 8 open claimers after posting back-to-back condition claiming scores. That was going 5 furlongs across town at Gulfstream Park. Want to show you a stat on Mr. Antonio Sano with Hardin. Winner last out, sprints on the turf. Big sampling. He's 12 for 60, 20%. He's in the money 43% of the time and still has that positive return of investment. So horse has been going well. I was looking for a new horse in here. Still haven't forgiven biggest little city, so I went with the 9 on top.
Sounds good for trainer Antonio Sano, who I know probably wasn't too pleased when he saw the lineup of the Breeders' Cup Classic, but with a little luck and a couple of defections that may certainly happen in terms of preference, we do hope and think Gunnevera will get into the field just 9 days from now in the Breeders' Cup Classic. To race number 2 we go at 6.5 furlongs. These are 2-year-old filly $50,000 maiden claimers and another Breeders' Cup South Florida outfit undoubtedly in the mix with the 4 Hill Valley, who's dipping in for 50 for Arundel, Stanley Gold, and Jeffrey Sanchez.
Yeah, dropping to the 50 level on the main track after closing the finish. Just an okay 4th when trying maiden special weight competition, going a mile on the turf. Stanley Gold, Jeffrey Sanchez, surface switch this afternoon. Logical horse in here is probably the horse that you have on top, Reed Double, who's dropping to this high price maiden. Didn't run very well last time out.
Bad effort first time and was bet with Gaffleone. You would think a Todd Pletcher firster who's 5-2 in an 8-horse field with Tyler G would have run, win or lose, a little better than this daughter Bernardini did. And I know the barn isn't their usual, say 35% this meet. This has not been a domino effect as far as the wins have gone lately. But sooner or later, this barn is going to catch their usual enfuego down here, and I'm hoping it's obviously with Edgar Zayas.
And you mentioned in 35% that Todd Pletcher, 2-year-olds with horses going from maiden special weight to maiden claimers on the dirt. That is his percentage, usually 12 for 34, 35%. He's in the money almost 60% of the time.
Nice.
But you make a good point. $1.86 return of investment. You're making a good point. The barn is not going that well. But any day that this horse here normally is absolutely the one to beat, even after that so-so performance in its debut. Hill Valley taking some chances with that because it's changing surfaces and trying something different. I closed it out. Well, we almost have the same superfecta up there with Geltrin.
Yeah, Geltrin, who of the ones that have not run already for a tag, is clearly, I think, the best looking of the bunch, as she does pick up Amisael Jaramillo, who finished up yesterday's card, capping his own pick 3 in races 6, 7, and 8, as we talk about the Rainbow Six after this quick timeout here on Gulfstream West Today.
Whether you're at home or at the track, have a stake in the race when you bet with ExpressBet. Sign up for an ExpressBet online betting account and receive up to a $500 sign-up bonus.
Well, we've nearly hit the finish line in the month of October, but before the month ends, we've got one more Friday Stronach 5 coming your way. 12% takeout, free PPs at GulfstreamPark.com, and an all-star ticket from some of the best handicappers here at the Stronach Group. East, West, and in between, 72 even. It's a tough sequence, 54 pre-scratch entries. Happy hunting, happy handicapping, and best of luck in the October 26th Stronach 5. Yeah, week number 5 of the ever-popular Stronach 5 kicks off here tomorrow afternoon at around 4:30 p.m. as Ron Nicoletti and Jason Blewett rejoin you. And so good to have you with us for the second half of the show. And it's all about the multis, essentially, from this point on, including that Friday Stronach 5 lineup. And we're happy here locally in Miami Gardens. We have not one, but 2 races in the mix and some big fields with 54 pre-scratch entries.
Yeah, and the beauty of this thing, 12% takeout. If you didn't know it, last week, one ticket hit it for $88,000. And Jason's right, we got the first leg and we have the third leg here at Gulfstream Park West. Both of those turf races. First one's a bit of a head scratcher, but that's what makes this bet so much fun.
About an hour and 20 minutes from start to finish. We did, Ronnie, myself, and a few other top-class on-air talents tape a XBTV Stronach 5 preview show that has made the rounds on social media and is up over at xbtv.com if you want to check it out. And Ronnie and I will both have tickets coming your way in the Friday Stronach 5 tomorrow on this show, Gulfstream West Today. Now, from the Stronach 5 to the Rainbow 6, about $70K in the carryover pool. What are we doing?
Well, I'm going to show you my ticket here, and it is $43.20. I went too deep in here, and as I mentioned when we were talking, I used the number 10. It's my long shot today. Cassidy Smile, 10-1, drops to the 20 level, comes out of a key race, 4 winners from 7 starters. So trying the turf this afternoon, just went with that horse, getting Paco Lopez in the saddle. I'm hoping I get the 10-1. And then in race number 5, as I mentioned, Scatnap, my best bet today, but did not single that horse. I like Scatnap drop going back to the turf. Looks pretty strong in there. And race number 7, please note the Jonathan Thomas horse, the number 15, gets in today.
Absolutely. I said to Ronnie, the first time serious, the 3 subsequent times joking around. Hey, note that JT horse is in the 7th race because, I mean, all kidding aside, that horse is number 15 in race number 7 today. Way, way, way outside in the past performances. Very anxious to see how that horse will run. And that 7th, by the way, is the linchpin to today's Rainbow 6 and late pick 5. An excellent-looking cast of 2-year-old turfers there in your Thursday feature. And for the second consecutive race, we stay with the 2-year-old fillies coming up on race number 3, which is a $20,000 maiden claimer on the turf going a mile. Oh, man.
I'm laughing now.
Oh, that is the kiss of death for your long shot
yeah,
today.
we're done.
Right on top with the 10, Cassidy Smile.
Yeah, you know, we met, this is funny, and then 7 horse in second, River and Fire. Cassidy Smile dropped it to 20 level, accounted trouble at the start, finished that distant night, but that was a strong state-bred maiden special weight on the dirt, produced 4 next out winners from 7 starters. Joe Orsino, that barn has been going really well. Yep. Paco Lopez in the saddle looking for a price. I thought the one to beat, River of Fire, just under breeding a daughter of productive sire, a turf sire, English Channel. I thought those were the 2 logical horses in there, and it's amazing. I can't believe we have the same exact.
And 10-1 on your horse,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
On the morning line there with Paco. And in looking at Joe potentially on the cusp of really heating up, and he was, what, a length shy of winning 2 races at good prices early on yesterday. Paco, of course, won the first for Joe. Said, let me take a shot with this daughter. Great filly by looking at Lucky. You've got the English Channel firster for Todd in the race with Edgar Zayas, and Ronnie and I will go in different directions, capping our respective tries. Drama Mina has got a good post and will likely show some speed today, stretching out. You've got George Bush, the trainer, not the former president, in 3rd.
Yeah, Tennessee Cotton stretching out to mile, departing from a tough post again. After finishing, I thought, a solid 3rd from post 12 and her Gulfstream Park turf finale. So she's done it once. Why not do it again and cap my trifecta?
Sounds good, man. Rainbow 6, race number 3. Be there or be square. 4th race, meanwhile, does kick off the late pick 5. This is one of my favorite races on the card because we've got a real troubled trip horse coming back who I did not single in my early pick 5, but I've opted to stand alone with the number 2, Sir Senskal here, a colt by Roman Ruler for trainer Oscar Gonzalez, and you will see a brutal trip for this 3-year-old who's only run 3 times in his career, and he will anchor a $27 late pick 5 play. What complicated the second leg, you've got 5 of the 9 in that race coming out of last out victories, which is pretty rare, and that race does include Ronnie's best bet, the number 2 Scatnip, who's obviously on my play. Following Paco Lopez, where Paco goes, I'm going to follow. He's one of 3 three good riders that I have, along with Edgar Zayas in race number 6. Another three-bagger in the 7 today. I really like that race, Ronnie. There's a lot going on, and you've also got a couple of fillies who are stake-faced trying the boys in that spot.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting race, the 7th race, and I went with Royal Earn on top, and I know we're going to show a video of Sterling Drive in there. So I thought that was a rough race. And all of this put together, I thought the race number 6 today was absolutely impossible for me. That's the one I had trouble with. You know, I went with the number 5 horse, Urban Buckeye on top, Louis Castillo in the saddle for Ian Hemingway. I found that hard. I just couldn't get a grasp, so I went 3 deep.
Yeah, I'm not sure who they'll make favorite in that. That is a race just dominated by either firsters or lightly raced second, third-time starters, and 2 deep to wrap things up. I really respect Not Nice coming back right off the maiden win. They've got him in a good spot. I'm going to try to shake things up with the Oscar Gonzalez, the OMG stables, a trainer change towards the outside. That 10-horse in the last race today should be a pretty good price. That is Fun and Games, who might really like a little change of scenery. Do you have Fun and Games anywhere?
I don't.
No, that horse is a price.
No,
if I
don't
had
think
to give out like my quote-unquote long shot, I think it would be the number 10 horse, Fun and Games, in the nightcap.
Yeah, I don't think I used that when I'm thinking back. Now, let me check real quickly if I can get my papers together here. No, I did not. I used 892.
892, so we both have the 8 Not Nice, who's probably going to be favored coming right back off the maiden victory. But anyway, what's this about with Oscar Gonzalez in the opening leg as well with this son of Roman ruler that he has? Now, one of the neat things about this 4th race is you've got 3 horses, and it's only after scratches. It's a 6-horse field, so half of the cast is coming out of the same September 27th maiden race over in Hallandale, and you're really going to want to watch this horse, who in his last start was the number 2. Was a big price at 20-1, and things just early on did not go well for this colt as he was off down towards the inside. Now, you've got this mad scramble for the lead. The rider opts to try to send and get position. This spot, to me, Ronnie, where you're chasing inside, he had not run in about 13 months. You're taking all that kickback, and you've got horses basically coming in over on you as you make that run into the far turn. You are almost in no man's land, and you saw the steady right there, right off the number 5 horse in the red. Despite being far back and not having any position and the slight steady into the far turn, I really like the way he finished up. He showed a good amount of interest. This was a really solid effort, I thought, picking up the pieces in a gapped-out race.
Yeah, it was a good performance, and as you mentioned when you were doing the analysis of the race, off an 11-month layoff, so I'm expecting more. And you don't see many Roman rulers around there.
No, for sure. And it's funny with him. I would have thought he would have been a really good sire. Yeah. He was pretty average, I think, at the top of his game when he was probably getting a decent amount of mares to breed to. But we do have a colt by Roman ruler here in Sir Seneschal for trainer Oscar Gonzalez. So I'm 2-5 coming out of the same race as the number 5 Bow Splash. You like the Penna horse, who also ran in the race we just showed you. That is a 6 Moon Pistol.
Yeah, the horse was 69-1 last time out and finished 5th behind that horse we just showed. Just thought maybe he'd grab a share there. It was the first, when returning from a couple of month layoff, and I got the number 7, Getting Into Mischief, a gelded son of Into Mischief, debuting for Anna Varsi. That barn, I always take a second look at that barn when they have first-time starters. You got it right in 3rd.
What about, and I know we've spent about 10 minutes on this race, we got Gemologister coming back for a co-leading trainer at the meet. Jaime Mejia, I mean, he'll run the numbers. He is not afraid to run his horses and run them quite often, but things are clicking for him. He's tied for leading trainer at the meet. Career start 34.
Yeah, Gemologist. I loved the breeding on that horse when he first started. I thought I had the champion of champions and just didn't work out. So I got him in 4th just for if the one wins, great,
so
finally.
Yeah, right. So you're watching one today, though, is the moral of the story.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on to race number 5 as we head back to the turf. And lo and behold, we had Ronnie's long shot in the 3rd. Here's the Nicoletti BB on the card. And, I mean, all kidding aside, Scatnap is about as solid and consistent as they come, and I admire her, and you can talk a little more about her. I love her consistency and the fact dirt, turf, doesn't matter. She just hits hard.
Well, she dropped it to the 12.5 level, returning to the turf after stalking the pace. She came up empty that day when facing those 20 starter optional claimants. I'm going to put a line right through that sloppy track. You just go back to her other performances. She is right there. So Scatnap, it was the logical choice. I'm looking up. We have the same superfecta up there. And, Swapple making her local return the first start. She rallied from far back. And you remember, she really came running late for going a mile across down at Gulfstream Park. And I want to show you instead of Marcus Vitale. Winner last time out. Claimers on the turf. I was interested to see what this would be, and it was pretty solid. 10 for 46, 22%, 39% in the money, and almost a $2 return on investment. It's something that you don't really look at Marcus Vitale and say, oh, he does a lot of turf, run with a lot of turf horses. And it's amazing. It's a good stat.
And a trainer we saw pick up a couple of wins, I think it was last Sunday, and wins at good prices. He strikes me as a guy who might be, along with Joe Orsino, just on the cusp of really getting hot over here in Miami Gardens. And maybe not that you're fully ahead of the curve, and Swapple won't be a big price by any stretch, but this could be the time to grab a little Vitale and Joe Orsino on today's action here at GPW. Moving on to race number 6, we jumpstart that final pick 3. We've got some 2-year-old $20,000 maiden claimers, and I'm laughing and just smiling looking at the field because this was the one race, for me anyway, in putting that late pick 5 that we showed a few moments back. I did all the other races, all the other work, and had to double back to this race because I didn't really know where to go.
That's exactly what I was telling you when you were showing your ticket. I ended up with the 5, Urban Buckeye, who's turning back to 3/4 of a mile today, promising 7-furlong debut. He tracked the pace. He weakened to finish 3rd, as going 7/8 of a mile. As I mentioned, Ian Hemingway, Luis Castillo in the saddle again. Just that's my guess in here, and that's the way I have to say it. And we have the same super, just boxed up differently in here. And I just thought it was an interesting race and hard to handicap.
Indeed. And I'm hoping a firster obviously comes out and just fires. It feels like I've been wrong quite a few times this meet, or not quite a few, but I feel like Armando, who's had an okay meet, batting just under 20%, I feel like a lot of the times I've liked them, the horses haven't really responded. So, that said, this is a good spot, though, for a firster who's bred to be at least a little speedy with the trap shot on the sire side of his pedigree. And just Armando in a spot like this to give a leg up to Paco Lopez. I'm going to take that with Paco's presence as the best sign of all.
Yeah, you probably do. It's one of the right ways to go in this race with all that. I want to show you something on the number 7, Leaky Cup, who's dropping a notch with blinkers added today. Failed to, a bid, finished 4th in his 25 career debut here. Was on a good track, but I want to show you stat on Antonio Sano. 2-year-olds making his 2nd career start, sprints in the dirt. Right here at Gulfstream Park West. He's 3 for 19, 18%. 53% of the money, and a nice return of investment of $2.85, and that's localized right to here at Gulfstream Park West.
And based here at GPW, at least a large string. I know Antonio's got some runoff, per se, over at Gulfstream Park, but, I mean, the bulk of the operation is right here in Miami Gardens, and we'll see how Antonio does, of course, today. As we move on to race number 7, this will get the Thursday spotlight, and there's just a lot going on. One of those multi-tiered turf races, and maybe it's multi-tiered, the least of which is because it's a big field. I mean, there's just quite a number of subplots in this race. The first one I noticed the other day doing the work is the fact you got a couple of stake-faced 2-year-old fillies and Miss Unbridled Cat, and one towards the outside of the pack in the number 12 Dangerous Curves, who are trying the Colts today. And then you've got some horses, in fact, quite a few who have run in stakes, and that includes the number 4 Sterling Drive. And we'll bring you his race back towards that final weekend of the summer meet over at Gulfstream Park. And I thought he ran pretty well, and you're going to see a horse who got himself into a pretty decent spot in the run into the far turn, in the red, moving inside. Maybe if you're splitting hairs, I think Sammy Camacho opted to put this horse in the game thinking that there was a loose on the lead speed horse and I better get a move on it. The way Sterling Drive, though, was right in contention and starts to flatten out just a bit through the final, say, 150 yards, really gave me some hope, and maybe it was like the light bulb going off, that he's really, I think, and he's in between in the red blinkers and the white cap. You watch him finish, and the fact that he just starts to hit the brakes here and is on fumes, I think cutting back from a mile, even that extra 1/16 of a mile to 7.5 furlongs is really going to suit this colt by Verrazano.
What I liked about him, he really showed a touch of class there, and I just thought it was nice. And, you know, running in the armed forces last time out. But we had our exacta flip-flop. I did go with Royal Earners back in South Florida and dropping into the 75 optional claimer on the turf. Followed his maiden victory on the dirt. Goes back, runs an ambitious race in the Grade 3 Iroquois Churchill. But he's a son of Cantharos, and he's bred to like the surface switch. Just off that, I thought these were the logical two. Exacta box might be the way to go.
New Jersey bred, in fact, out of a 16-year-old dam who was 1 for 4. Her lone win came in a dirt route. You've had 6, a half dozen siblings who have tried the turf. 3 of them have won.
Wow.
So you factor that in with the Cantharos presence, and I think you've got a horse who obviously has a little bit of talent and class himself, and a horse that is bred to potentially move up on the turf. What do you do, though? I mean, the X factor, I think, today as a whole, most likely, at least in my humble estimation, is the British bred on the outside, the number 15 Hope again, who did draw into this race. What do you do? I mean, ran in a pretty cheap-looking allowance race, a purse of about $6,000 over in Great Britain, and paid about $1 gazillion in that upset win.
He's getting blinkers. He's getting Lasix the horse. But here's the theory. What do you do? You said the question is very simple. You see Jonathan Thomas, you add him to your Rainbow Six ticket or your late Big Five. Just because of the connections, I remember looking at this race and saying, well, this horse won't get in today. It's post 15, and sure enough, the scratches, it worked out that the horse gets in. So you know, just make sure you take a second look, because that one might be on the back page.
Yeah, no doubt. That horse is actually 3 pages deep in the DRF printouts Ronnie and I both use. 50-1 in that race back 4th of July weekend. It wasn't 4th of July weekend over in Great Britain. They were watching our celebrations. They'll get tested for class this afternoon. Just a very good little 2-year-old turf race here at Gulfstream West. One more for everybody here. Last call comes on the turf, in fact, as we cut back to 5 furlongs with a 2-lifetime $8,000 claimer in the nightcap, and talked a little bit during my late pick 5 why I was stabbing in this race with the 10 Fun and Games, and it's the reason simple. It's a trainer change to Oscar Gonzalez, who once again is riding the best season he has ever had here in the United States since coming over from Venezuela about 5 years ago. His name has been synonymous with not only moving up, but with winning on a steady basis. And with Edgar taking the call, I'll try to shake things up, my friend, with the 10 Fun and Games, aptly named here for the finale.
Yeah, I'm looking back. I didn't use this horse, but a previous winner, going 5 furlongs on the grass. I did go with Not Nice, stepping up to face winners, responded to both the surface switch and the turn back to 5 furlongs. I thought it was a sharp 12-5 maiden victory. My buddy Yvonne Belsura and Paco Lopez going to go for 2 in a row. That was my thought process with that horse.
Right next door, in fact, in between Ronnie's pick and my top selection, the 9 Flying Queen. What's the biggest negative with this filly going in? Is it the lifetime record?
Yeah, still looking for her second career victory. 24 races, 1 win, 6 seconds, 8/3. She's always there. She was solid in defeat when she rallied to finish second here at this same level and distance. So Flying Queen, you got to use that one on your Try and Super ticket. I don't know about the top spot.
Me neither. Not Nice, Fun and Games. You heard it here, folks. Best of luck. Hope you're playing GPW all day long. Ronnie and I certainly appreciate you showing up and hanging out with us to talk some horses for about a half hour. And once again, it gets even better, my friend, because we continue to make stops all around GPW. Pete Aiello standing by with those Thursday scratches and changes.
Tis Robert Charles broke his maiden at Gulfstream Park.